Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Truth About Marketing. I got my guy DZ here. He's the founder and creative director of the Family Vibe. He's celebrating 20 years right now, so congrats on that. Some really awesome brands he's done in the past, some cool bars, restaurants, Spiritual Gangster, if you've heard of that. And now they're launching Live Moss Cafe for Taco Bell. So very, very cool. Great history. Awesome dude. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Hey, brother. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to do this. Let's have some fun.
Absolutely. So before we get the conversation going, we do this lightning round, right? Kind of jog our brains a little bit, get the conversation going. So I'm going to hit you with some questions. It's quick fire, just whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
All right. Ready? First one. Favorite business or marketing technology?
Oh, my God. We use Adobe products a lot. I love Adobe. I actually like this little thing called MindNode. I'm really into MindNode. That really helps me like get my ideas all kind of focused out and like all the different avenues and directions I want to take. So MindNode is a big thing I use quite a bit.
Love that. All right. Favorite social channel?
I do like Instagram, man. I'm into Instagram. I think if you can get your feed right, your algorithm right, and get inspiration through it, man, Instagram is there's nothing like it for sure.
That's my go-to for sure.
Yeah.
Least favorite social channel?
So Instagram. Yeah, but because like what I don't like is maybe the ads and how people are advertising on it. I think it's it just seems like cheap. It's like, when did the business guys get in charge of advertising? Like, there's not a lot of creative juice on it. It seems like replayed. So in that sense, I don't like it. But like I said, you can make it your own. So.
All right, brand or person with good marketing?
A brand that I like with good marketing?
Yep.
I'm really into Grazia right now. I like that olive oil. I've been really into these. I just like people who are innovating on the experience. So you have this like real cool visual, tactile, like dope packaging with this, along with a great product. So when you can do both and emotionally connect with the brand and also have a great product, dude, that Grazia brand kills. I love it.
Very good. Very good. Brand or person that needs help with marketing?
Oh my God. Everybody on Instagram, bro. Anyone that's like, hey, this t-shirt won't last long. Hey, there's only 5 of these left. All that stuff. Someone's got to take over all that stuff.
Yep. Love that. All right. Favorite influencer or business leader?
We recently had a talk about Shaquille O'Neal, I think. And I'm a big fan of Shaq. I like Shaq. I think he's awesome. I know that's such a generic, quick answer because this is the lightning round, but yeah, I like Shaq. I think he's authentic. He's cool. He's real.
He's got his hands in a lot of stuff. I mean, it's for the fact that he's able to still be him, but be involved, own a pizza shop, own a wing place, own a car wash. It's pretty cool.
And I think what he does is he takes off. If you ever see him in the creative meetings or the marketing meetings, this ain't hard. You know what I mean? Like, it's not hard. And he just kind of eliminates the fluff of all the bravado and the machismo that might go into some of these meetings, especially what I experience a lot of. And he's like, well, what if we just did this? And it's like, great idea. I like that about him. It's like, hey, man, we don't have to really think too hard on this.
Overthink it.
It's a natural, instinctual thing.
Very good. And then brand or person you'd like to work with the most?
Oh my God. Well, I'm doing it right now, man. We're opening up a studio. We have a studio right now in Mexico City. We've been going out there for the last 10 years, and I just did a hotel out there, Colima 71. I love working with hotels. I love creating experiences. I think that's the number one for the Family Vibe, is always innovating on the experience. I'll say that ad nauseum. But yeah, man, like those are the brands I like to do. Hotel brands, just those experiential brands. That really kind of taps in for me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it allows you to get, like you said, creative, but it allows you to kind of, take chances and do some things that some other bigger kind of archaic brands won't do. So that's really cool.
Yeah. And you just tap into that life source. I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but people always talk about, there's only, the only thing you can spend money on that'll make you richer is traveling. And that's, the goal when you're trying to create this art and you're trying to do all this work is, to create these innovative experiences, to get people jazzed up and to make a difference. If you're, and then all those other things that you want, whether it's money, dough, whatever that is, it'll follow. But you always got to make sure the work's always number one. That's what we always try to concentrate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, buddy.
Cool. Well, so why don't you, now that we got through this, why don't you talk a little bit about, you said you've been in business 20 years, which is awesome. Congrats on that again. But give us a little history, like how you got to where you are today. What were your previous jobs? How did you get here?
So I started as a commercial director. I directed commercials for like Nike, Audi, all kinds of big companies when I was in my 20s. I'm a little older. So, back in the day, I had to put my hands in like a film bag, and actually change a magazine out. It wasn't all digital cameras. And so it was really a craft at the time. So when you were a director, you kind of always worked with agencies. So I always got like, I was into the agency part of it, and you had to take their idea and kind of make it great. And so I just kind of noticed, I was like, man, I really love the creative process from that sense. I went to a school called Art Center College of Design. It's kind of like the Harvard of advertising school. So I had a good foundation. I had some great teachers, good mentors. Mentors are important. And, yeah, man, like fucking that. So that's how I kind of got started. And then from there, I just, I decided, you know what, as technology shifted, I decided to start the Family Vibe. So I would create the ideas and have my own agency. And, yeah, that's kind of how it all started, man.
Very good. And then, so, kicking off, I know obviously starting my own marketing agency, it's like you're figuring out like, where's your first client going to come from? Then how do you build upon it? So talk a little bit about that and like how you went and found your first clients and then what that experience was like. Cause I know there's a lot of people out there that, entrepreneurs right now trying to figure out, maybe they want to start their own little thing, or even if they're being a contractor,
Yeah. Listen. Okay. So I'm going to answer that two ways. One is I was blessed because I directed a commercial with Amari Stoudemire in it for Nike. And he came up with me at a young age and was like, yo, man, how can we work together more? And I was like, there's this new thing called YouTube. Let's film your life. And I just put it out there because I was ready to get out of Los Angeles and I like Phoenix and I thought it was cool when I directed him in the spot. And so he was my first client.
Very
he's
good.
like, cool. He was like, hey, man, how much does that cost? I gave him a number. He's like, done. And so I just moved to Phoenix and bought the studio that I'm currently at out in Arizona. And obviously it's grown. You've been there. It's grown to what it is today. A super big, dope spot. So that's how I got my first client. But, and from that, I think the most important part is the relationship aspect that brought. I always talk about three things. I call it the 3 R's. You want to be conscious of your relationship, your real, and the revenue. So I kind of judge every job by that as I go into it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not doing it for the relationship, you're doing it for the real, the revenue, blah, blah, blah. So with me, it was all relationship based and some good money. And then he introduced me to Carmelo Anthony. And then I was kind of innovative at the time. And I had them do all their own personal shoe brands and stuff. So I did Amari's personal shoe brand with Chester Bennington from Lincoln Park. We worked together on his logo. Did a Mellows thing for him for Jumpman. And that came full circle recently with Taco Bell. So lots of fun stuff, man.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And so, whether it's working for individuals or for brands, I mean, I actually really like the 3 R's thing. But what do you, for you guys and your team, I've kind of been a part of it, but what do you find like so fascinating and what's so valuable from the creative piece? Because again, you have to take that as the foundation and then that's going to dictate everything else, right? What do my ads look like? What do my billboards look like? What's my emails look like, right? So
Okay, I'm so happy. Yes. So that's everything. I feel like nowadays, Colin, like your only differentiation factor nowadays is the brand, right?
Yeah.
Like if you came out with like some new pillow concept and you're like, oh, this pillow's called Snug Sesh and oh, this pillow's called Sleepy Time. And it wouldn't matter. It's the naming and the branding. People want to assimilate with brands they like. So everything nowadays, because you can order that same pillow from China, everyone can have the same product, the same SKU number, this, that. Oh, you use Shopify, I use Shopify. So your real only differentiation factor nowadays is this and this, right?
Yep.
This and this. So if you can utilize that and create something that's of some value and that inspires, that's where I like to lean in towards. It's just the creative is the big differentiation factor.
Yeah, absolutely. And so like when you're going through that process, I mean, obviously you have to look around, right? There's competition, there's,
oh, buddy.
The idea is like, what are you looking for when you're, inspiration, but also, I mean, let's be honest, like you do want to take some elements or of the industry at large. I mean, maybe there's times where you want to disrupt it, but maybe there's times where you want to kind of slide in,
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Especially depending on how much money how much the check is. Yeah, for sure. I shouldn't have said that, but
it matters. Man. It matters. Time is money.
Man, if I get that big check, I might think a little harder on it.
Yeah.
No, but real talk. It is true. I think that's such a valid, awesome question, man. Like, yeah, I mean, it's a point of integrity for us at the company. We don't put anything out that's not good. I mean, and you always get the A squad with us. I'm not selling myself here, but one thing I hate about big agencies is like they'll sign up like a big client. This is something I don't like in modern industries right now.
Yep.
They'll get a big client and the A team talks to everybody, but then the C squad's working on it. That doesn't happen. Like if you're with us, man, you're going to get the best of us.
Yeah.
And I just think, man, that's, it's just a point of pride and like wanting to do good work. It makes me, I mean, this sounds cheesy, but it just makes me happy, man. When you put good work out, it's the one thing I can hang my hat on. hey, all the other stuff didn't work out, but I know the work was good, and I
Yep.
know I put my best out into it. So anyway,
Yep.
I don't know
Well,
if
so
that
that
answers the
being
question.
said, when you're saying A
Yeah,
team and putting in the work and the hours
yeah,
and the,
yeah.
let's talk a little bit about how AI comes into play here, right? Like
Okay.
now AI has come into play a lot on it can create ads and create copy and it can dish out,
Yeah,
50
yeah,
blogs in a day, like whatever,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
all great, but like you said, here and here's gone, and you can tell. You can tell. I'm sorry, like whatever
Oh
you're
yeah,
reading, whatever that a computer wrote this shit, right?
totally, bro, totally.
But what I want to talk about is because you're
Yeah,
branding, right? And you're the
yeah,
foundational pieces, and like you said, everything stems from it.
yeah,
There's a kind of a two-part question here, but I'll ask the first one, you know.
yeah.
So I've had people come to me and go, I can get a logo off
Fucking
of,
hate.
or I can
Yeah,
get a quick logo off of Chat GPT. It's like,
go ahead.
yeah, go ahead and you'll pay the $20 and you get a $20
You'll get
logo.
that
Like,
$20. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So talk a little about that and what those conversations are like nowadays, because obviously, like, people are spending money with you. You guys have a really big, credible agency, a
yeah,
big body
yeah,
of work, but
yeah.
you still have to get those questions like, God, why would I spend this much? AI can do this, this, and
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Well, first and foremost is obviously the people will still pay for experience in class,
Yep.
but people are going to pay first, and then from that, people are going to pay for story because it's you. If you don't feed the information into the algorithm, into the AI, then you're going to get something surfacey, and so it's going to be different. If I were to use it, that's a different story.
Right.
But yeah, if someone's just going to try to do it, you got to have story power. You have to have experience power. You have to, like we talked about, you have to realize, okay, how am I going to innovate on every single customer touch point? Hey, I'm doing a hotel. Okay, what's that look like? Well, they walk in. Well, maybe I'm going to innovate on a sensory touch point.
Sure.
Let's talk about smell. Okay, this is what this hotel should smell like. This is all the stuff that, unless you give the robot the information, they're
Yep.
not just going to me, come up with that. So yeah, that's how I negate that. I think that's why people choose us, because we're just doing a full 360 kind of approach to everything like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And so
Yeah.
again, that breeds into the whole idea of, okay, how do you then leverage AI? You just kind of alluded to it, but like I'm the same way where like, listen, I've been doing marketing for 10 plus years, right? So I know what I'm looking for and what I need out of it. Now, again, I think when people say, this is my hot take, I think when people say that AI is getting rid of marketers and getting rid of
No,
creatives, it's not. Like, in my
it's
opinion, it's
not.
actually making them more valuable because you're
Yeah,
going to
I
have a
agree.
bunch of people that just use
Yeah,
AI, and then you have the few that
yeah,
are still visionaries, right?
yeah, yeah. I
But
love that. Yeah, I
using
agree.
AI is still important because, yes, unfortunately, I can't tell a client, oh, it's going to take a week because
Yeah,
the other vendor's going to go, oh, it'll take me 2 days. Well, I have to
yeah,
understand how to work quicker, right?
yeah,
But it's being
yeah,
able to use AI, like you said. So
yeah.
in your experience, beyond just like the descriptions and saying like, hey, I know what I'm looking for, is there any other like application of AI or things that like, you wish you could tell clients that you have an open platform here?
Yeah, I'm thinking about right now. I'm like, what's going to get me in trouble and what's not going to get me in trouble that I'd use this for? Well, listen, man. At the end of the day, it's what you feed it. So now you have to realize I have 20 years of history of how I've been doing brand platform decks, where I talk about, hey, what's your differentiation factors? What's the reasons to believe in your company? Core values. Let's talk about let's do some brand personas and talk about Debbie. She's 23. She
Yeah.
goes to yoga. So I have a pretty good breadth of work that I can now feed into AI, learn my language, and then it helps me maybe do things a little faster
Right.
from my standpoint.
Yeah.
It helps me do it faster and sometimes better. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I didn't think of that. And I love it. And I think it just goes back to, again, it's like the user, like you said, it's like, I think if anything, artists are going to I hope that artists will flourish with this AI. The people I'm nervous for is like a lawyer. The other day I had a lawyer question. I went to AI. Fuck,
Dude.
man, I don't fucking ever call a lawyer again. You kidding me? But because that's a quick, easy answer. That's A plus B equals C. What we do is art.
Yeah.
And that's different. So that's left to interpretation and feeling and emotions. What type goes with this the right way. So there's still room for growth with how we use it as a tool more. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think there's a tremendous growth opportunity here with AI.
Yeah.
It's not something that I'm afraid of. It's not, again,
Yeah.
Look, if I was a cashier at a place where you can order food, or I was, again, like you said, to be honest, like some of these jobs where either you're whether it be lawyer or
Yeah.
my buddy gave a great example the other day of like a therapist. He was like, Do you know
Oh,
how many
bro.
books and how many things like are online that you say, hey, I'm 30 years old. I'm going through X problem. I want to talk to a female, blah, blah, blah. Dude, the ChatGPT will literally talk to you as a therapist.
Yeah.
Like, what am I paying
Yeah.
$150 an hour for?
Yeah.
I'm good with.
Yeah, no, bro. I had, not to get too deep into my personal life. My mother recently has a little dementia, and I just asked ChatGPT, "Hey, what can I do? How do I
Right.
handle that?" Oh my God, the breadth of the answers were amazing. I was like, "Oh my God, I don't have to see anybody or talk to anybody, or it's just like, okay, I got like, I'll set my boundaries, and we'll talk from 5 to 6." And
It almost
yeah, man.
takes you, but it almost gives you like a little bit of like freedom also, because when you're a little bit what do you want to say, skittish or whatever about talking to actual people, I don't care. I'm in a room by myself talking to a computer.
Man, dude, I love that. And you know what? Yeah, you can be free. And that's what's cool about the art part of it too, just to bring it go full circle. Like
Yep.
if you're an artist and you're a young kid, like dude, there's no limit to your ideas. And sometimes people have a problem connecting ideas or talking about ideas. And that's what's so cool. Like you can just keep going and going and going and going. Now, I don't know how good the technology is, but I think oftentimes a lot of problems with young artists and young peeps is you don't feel that confidence, or
Yep.
you don't feel like, do my ideas have merit? And maybe that's, I'm happy we're just even having this conversation. That's such a cool thing to think about, like just to give people confidence as young artists to like have merit in their ideas, have confidence in those ideas, and know that no idea, not sound cliche, is a bad idea, but that's cool. So yeah,
Well, it's funny because like I love that whole idea of that, no idea is a bad idea. But really, like my boss at my first like big tech company, he used to be like, because we get into meetings and like some of the people would be like, oh my God, another fucking Colin idea. And the CEO was like, listen, this guy could have 100 ideas and 90 of them are going to be bad. But those 10 are fucking great. And he's like, so we're going to sit here and we're going to listen to him because the 10 that he comes up with are fucking great.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
So,
trust me, a couple of kids that work for me would be like, no idea is a bad idea. I mean, I shut down fucking bad ideas fast. So yeah, but as a young artist and designer, if I'm being inspirational, you want to always follow your heart.
Well, and then you get the whole, then it's the more cliche of, oh yeah, but the bad idea led you to the good idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Whatever, we got there one way or the other.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, so, let's talk a little bit about what you're working on now. So you've grown, and again, you got the Live Moss Cafe thing going on, which I think is absolutely epic. What a big brand. Taco Bell. I think I can speak on behalf of every drunk person at 1 a.m. It is my favorite food. Listen, I used to eat Taco Bell all day, every day. Like when I was younger, my body just can't take it anymore. I'll be 400.
What an insane brand, right? Like you just think about how like it just organically just became this thing. I think, they did such a great job 10 years ago, probably, of stripping the brand down and making it less. Like I think they got away from those burger colors. They went to that, that hyper purple color. The logo was, the whole, not to get technical, but like the whole layout of the logo and the brand identity was very simplified.
Yep.
No stacking, no this, no that. It was like click, 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 click. And I thought that even made what that enabled the audience to do was to click in even more and make it their own even more, because they became more ambiguity led to more ravaging fans that just love it so much. I was brilliant. So so we started getting to work with them. That was one of the best calls I've ever gotten, and it happened in such a fun way. You can't even write some of the shit, and I was just so blessed to work with them.
Well, talk me through it. I mean, whatever you can, so. Yeah. Again, Taco Bell's not known for, coffee and breakfast and things like that. I think everybody's used to, the bean burrito, the double decker, the, 5-layer, whatever, there's all different things. But this is like, I would say that this is really disrupting something that and taking a big leap for them. Because again, a lot of fast food places, they try to introduce new items, 1 or 2 things, not an entire new category. You know what I mean?
Talk
a little about that and like what this really like was like from a creative perspective.
Man, it's such a long journey, but I'm gonna make it concise. I had this idea for just a Latin community coffee shop. I was all about it. I kept telling everybody, y'all are fucking up. Nobody's doing a Latin coffee shop. Why are you opening up this coffee shop? Why are you gonna call your coffee shop? I don't want to say the name. Hit a coffee shop with the Latins. No Starbucks, Brothers. No one's got this. And so I, of course, was bitching and moaning one day at a hotel to my buddy who owns a few Taco Bells, and a great guy, smart guy, SG, real dear friend, and he's one of the number 1 franchisees, owners of Taco Bells in in the country. And I just said to him, he's like, what's going on with work? I was like, this guy wants to do a coffee shop. But sometimes I said, I never let ideas out of the bag early. I said, he had a little plot of land. And he was like, my wife wants to do a coffee shop. I was like, fuck, I got the best idea for you.
Yeah.
A coffee shop for the Latin community. We're going to horchata lattes. I'm going to put a churro in a vanilla milkshake filled with fucking espresso. Like, I was like, and he's like, no one heard it, bro. No one heard it. And I was just looking, I was like, I can't believe no one hears this idea.
Yeah.
And now he's like, hey man, I own 300 plus Taco Bells. Let's ride. So cut to real talk, PJ up to the Super Bowl, meet Sean, CEO, meet Taylor Montgomery, CMO. And I just start talking about it, man. That's how it is. But when you got credibility, probably like our firm does, it goes a long way. People know who we are. So they knew that I could pull it off, and they're like, let's go. And that's how it kind of all started.
That's awesome, man. I'm super
it's crazy.
Literally, my like shining, all my friends are gonna laugh when I say this, but like my shining gift, from the time I was a child, I kept telling everybody, like we had this little like invention contest when we were kids, and I'm like, all right, hear me out. Why do donuts have holes but bagels don't? Like why don't we have bagel holes, like little bite-sized bagels? I'm like,
totally.
And I go, what if you just could inject cream cheese into the hole, like make like a bagel hole with like cream cheese in the middle?
Yeah.
My teacher was like, whatever. All my friends growing up, one of my dad's rich buddies, Randy, shout out to Uncle Rand. I was like, dude,
Uncle Randy,
you got to invest in this. We got to make this. He's like, I don't know shit about food. I don't know shit about bagels. Dude, no joke. I was like 20 years old. Shark Tank comes on, and this company comes on. They're like, we're called Bantam Bagels, blah, blah, blah. Like, we make bagels filled with cream cheese. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
You gotta be kidding me.
And they got a $3 million deal on Shark Tank. And then they were in Starbucks, bro. I'm like, I told you.
Oh my God. Colin, I love that.
So it happens, but at least you got to live your dream. Mine died. Mine died at Starbucks. So good. I can't wait to put this out and tell everybody.
Yeah. You're like, dude, I had this idea.
Exactly.
Man, that's awesome, man. Yeah, and I feel blessed. It goes back, Colin, to what I said. Like, if you put the work in and you do the right creative work and you do it for the right reasons, it's always that will always reward you. If any young artists out there are listening, or young design, young entrepreneurs that want to put up a product or anything like that, always put that worth in the work, because that'll always come back. And that's why I talk about, it's like, all right, we've seen your breadth of work and what you've accomplished. They're like, let's ride. So, then we like, and we're doing some really amazing things right now for them. I think we're doing some innovative things on that front. So
and that was gonna lead into my next thing, is like, what's exciting for you right now? Because I mean, honestly, like even having these conversations, and every time I go, God, it's a lot of work, and I don't know if I should keep doing these, bro. I talk to people like you, and then I get excited again. I'm like, all right, you're making me juiced, right?
I'm the ultimate hype man.
Yeah. So like, what's exciting you right now? Like, what's on the horizon? Like, what are you looking at inspiration? I mean, you've been all over, and Mexico City is obviously a beautiful place to get inspiration from.
Yeah. Well, I'll do twofold. One is I get inspired by travel, but number two is I really get inspired by work. And, we're doing this new thing right now where, obviously we're doing this Taco Bell deal where we're doing Live Mas Cafe. And like maybe, for instance, the typical name is called a barista who serves you your coffee, but we're calling ours, well, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag a little early, but we're calling them Bellristas. And what I love most about the Bellrista concept is I said, Colin, one thing we always talk about, right? You and I always talk about differentiation factors. How are you differentiating in the marketplace? And so sometimes that's not always going to be product. You're not always going to be able to, and I'm certainly not going to have better coffee than Starbucks. I'm certainly not going to have better coffee than Dutch Bros. But how can I differentiate? And I said, I'm going to start internally. I'm going to start with the front line. I'm going to start with the people who are serving the drinks. I'm going to start with the people who are serving the brand, right? I got to make sure that energy is right. And I got to make sure that energy fits that Taco Bell cultural rebel thing. I've gotten to look under the hood at their brand book and what that's like. And that's awesome. It's an awesome thing. But yeah, so I did this whole thing called Bellristas. And basically, my whole thought process was like, they may come in for the coffee the first round, but they're coming back for the experience. So what I did was I designed all, from Spiritual Gangster, what I did with them, I did all this dope apparel for the Bellristas. So all the Taco Bell employees are going to have this sick apparel going.
Nice.
And just, invigorating, reigniting, reimagining what that experience is like. So it's just not a person in an apron handing you a drink. It's more than that. So that's what I'm really excited about right now.
Yeah, I mean, and again, even just sitting here, obviously, like brain stirring, I'm like, God,
Yeah.
my head goes to, Burger King and Travis Scott. And then I'm like, but they made that shit cool again. So, like, what if you made
Yeah.
Live Moss Cafe, like, dope to have? Because the other thing that, again, my mind spins just like yours, bro. But then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, but like, what, you're going to walk around with a Taco Bell cup? And I'm like, you get coffee from Taco Bell? But then,
Yeah.
wait a minute. What if I made it cool to get your coffee from Taco
That's right.
Bell? Like, you know
That's
what I
the
mean?
goal.
Like, yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
that hard.
No, yeah. I mean, but again, I don't think, not to say not everybody, but like, I just think a lot of people don't think like that, right? They're just thinking in the
No.
moment. They're like, well, what if we made some cool shirts? And you're like, no, dude, listen,
Yeah.
I need to make this shit dope, like Kith or like something else.
Oh,
That
yeah.
Live Moss Cafe's got like street vibe to it. Then the kids think it's cool to get your coffee from Live
Yeah.
Moss Cafe. Then there's like
Yeah.
all these steps.
And you're changing lives. I mean, we're talking about, we're talking about something where we're hiring, I want to say thousands of
Yeah.
youth, 16 to 17 to 18, and they feel like they can be a part of something. One thing I always say is that internal purpose leads to external promise. I'm going to say it again. Internal purpose leads to external promise. You give these kids something to believe in and they're a part of something, and then you're just not handing coffee, but you're handing off an experience, you're handing off energy, you're making someone's day great, and we give you like the reasons why. And dude, not only is it a game changer for the customer, it's a game changer for the kids that are working there, which is even, more of a blessing. So
yeah, and I mean I think that's a core thing that a lot of people forget is like marketing is supposed to invoke emotion. So like again, creative is the foundation of marketing. So if I don't feel something when I look at a brand, or I don't, then I like, we're in such a swipe culture and not just next. Like I want to feel something. And so, what you're talking about is not just an external and everybody should feel this way. It's also an internal thing. Like, how do I connect with that person inside? And, I think personally, I mean, we're kind of sitting here on Taco Bell, but the whole idea is like, everybody has their own experiences with it. And a lot of people have, fast food, this, that, late nights, early mornings, whatever. Yeah. But I also think that there's some nostalgia to it that you flip it on its head and like have a rebirth of what that means to be Taco Bell and Live Moss Cafe. And I mean, there's a lot you guys could do with it, man. I'm really excited to see what happens.
Well, I love what you're saying right there, Colin. I think that's such a great observation because it is true. It's like, dude, what you just said, we're in this flip world. And it's like, what are the moments I long for the most? The moments I long for the most? Hanging with the homies at dinner, having a conversation at dinner. Physical, visual interactions, real humans, so yeah, man, I could give you more kudos to that last statement. Yeah. I agree 100%.
No, man, it's really cool. And again, I think what I am excited for you and then like, looking forward is, do you think you want to like continue to do more projects like this? Again, you work with some really high-end restaurants and bars and things, but this is a little bit different, right? It's like,
it's a beast.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a nationwide thing, first of all, but it's also a much different play in terms of audience, persona, all of that, right? You're going from, one of your higher end restaurants in New York where it's
Product
35 to 55, with money to now I'm looking at 15 to 50.
No, totally. And the other thing too is like you're in the machine when you're in Taco Bell. There's a lot of meetings, a lot of calls, a lot of people. And this is an interesting conversation for your podcast or for young kids out there. You get onto this level, there's a lot of egos, there's a lot of talls, there's a lot of conversations. There's things like you're like, have I talked about whether there should be a Baja Blast icon or a taco on a keychain? Have we talked about that for 15 minutes? Is this my life?
Yeah.
But you got to go through that kind of stuff sometimes. And so it's all an interesting play. This creative world, this marketing world, it's going to throw a lot of things at you, which I think is why I'll go back to what I said earlier is that, man, you just got to stay true to the work. Make sure you have an even barometer for whatever you're trying to execute, man. Hey, I'm always going to do great work. Hey, I always live by this kind of this is my go-to. This is what I believe in. You got to have your creed, So anyway.
But talk a little bit about that too, because there's in details, right? Attention to detail. Look, I think that's important. And I think that especially in branding, it's like, oh, did you notice this? Did you notice that? And the ones that are great, like the actual greats, like think about things like Deadpool, right?
Yeah.
Dude, those guys, the amount of cookies and little attentions to detail, which is fantastic for the diehards, right? But it's probably over like 80% of people's heads, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
But where do you kind of draw the line, or you say, all right, like we want attention to detail, but I can't sit here and get lost in the minutia, right? Like you have to figure out that balance of like, this is important. And hey, listen, are we really sitting here worried about the
Yeah.
color of a freaking
Yeah.
keychain. Like, come on.
Yeah. Bro, it's tough, man. You hit a sore spot with me there. Like, because I'm not the guy in charge per se, but I am the guy in charge.
Yep.
So it's like you're launching this whole thing over the country and you have like 40 different agencies involved.
Right.
Well, I won't say 40, maybe it's 30.
Yep.
But you have like big guys with big teams and you have like 40 people on a Zoom.
Yep.
You just got to be honest sometimes and be like, hey man, well, this is just a bad idea. I think so to answer your question, what it goes back to is if you do your brand platform deck the right way, if you do your reasons to believe, if you got the reasons like, here's the brand pillars, here's what we believe in, this is why we're doing it, then you don't got to worry about anything else because you got that motherfucker memorized.
Yep.
And you know how it's supposed to feel inside. So if someone brings up an idea like maybe in front of every Live Mouse Cafe, I want to put a Lending Tree book with Dinosaurs Love Tacos as the book.
Yeah.
They're gonna kill me for that. But
Yeah.
you're like, hey, sorry, not gonna work.
Doesn't fit. Yeah, doesn't fit.
That's not gonna work. Yeah. So I mean, always stay true to your beliefs and why you did it to begin with.
But this is why I believe too, and it's so funny because people don't want to put a tremendous value on it, but I'm like, you're actually doing this in reverse. Like that source of truth document, your foundation is everything. Everything comes from there. Everything. So you should be spending $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 on this.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and try to save after that. But like,
I can't believe people that want to skip on that when they come to me. They're like, oh, we don't want to do that part. I'm like, dude, that's about now. I won't even do it anymore unless we do that.
Right.
Back in the day, you needed cash. Okay, I'll do the logo. But now I'm like, if this is going to be successful, I gotta do this part.
Yep, 100%.
You're so right.
And I think again, people discount. Well, your messaging is different than your visuals. Is it? Because I should feel what I'm reading with just by looking, right? Like,
correct.
So that's a lost art too. I think is in this age of just quickly do everything. Like you lose sight of again the visual and audible connection, or like what the words actually mean.
Yeah. And the craziest part to me, Colin, is this, dude, fucking now it's like wide open. If I go on Instagram and I see someone advertise a new shirt or a new shoe, it's the same thing over and over. And it's the same plug play. Oh my God, I can't wait for the new crop of artists to come out and just change the game.
Yep.
Change the game. You got the world is your oyster right now. I mean, everyone's doing the same thing for all of a sudden. And there's no knock on business marketing or anything like that, but you have like a lot of CEO type mentality doing your advertising on these things. And you know what? People are always going to want to assimilate or be a part of that rebel mentality, that artist mentality. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think ultimately at the end of the day, you're going to see a renaissance the same way that we are in other professions where it's like, well, we didn't value plumbers or gardeners or architects or any of that shit for a long time. We were like, oh, they're just union people paying by the hour, give them little raises.
That's right.
While we prioritize knowledge workers. And then it was like, well, wait a minute. Now a knowledge worker is a dime a dozen and we have AI. Like, why do we have no plumbers? It was like, now nobody can fix a toilet. So.
Yeah. Dude, totally.
It's going to be the same thing. It's going to go back to where you have all these people who say they can do marketing, but then you have no creatives left.
No.
Like, cool. You have a bunch of people that know how to run ads, but you don't know how to make the ads.
Yeah, totally. And again, dude, all that goes back to my original thing. Like, if anyone's, like I said, people who are listening, looking for any inspiration, hey man, at least you got your ideas. And then what we talked about, that's the most important part, man, to go full circle. You got to have that brand platform deck. You got to have it, dude.
Yep.
And then anyway.
What would be your, as we kind of close things up, what would be like your advice on a couple things, right? So first, where do you go and look for inspiration? And I know I follow you and we're friends and whatnot. So like, I've seen it. Like you could get it from walking by a building, right? Like,
I take a lot of door pictures.
You take a lot of strolling, like this is where I'm at, scenery, whatever.
Totally.
But where do you look for inspiration? Like if you're saying, God, I got this new project, I'm kind of, not feeling it just yet. What do you do? Like, what's your process?
Yeah. So I'm a big traveler, but I'm not like your typical traveler. I'm not doing it. I really go to Mexico City quite often. I think that gives me a lot of inspiration. I like to walk the streets quite a bit. I have a meditation I go to every morning out there and at the print building. It's fantastic. That's where our new studio is. And I go every morning and I walk back to my house a different way every morning. And I just, man, you'd be surprised, Colin, at how if you just give yourself space and time to walk and to see and to look, what that does. And listen, I'm guilty as the next guy. I'll be like, can't. I'll be like scroll. Your brain is like, but it's amazing how the ideas and the inspiration just starts to
Right.
come as you do those things. And just thinking about it, you know what the project is. You probably kind of already know like what a baseline is. It's like I always say to people, hey, don't just say something, be something. I don't
Right.
want to just say something. I want to be something. When I did Spiritual Gangster, Colin, like I didn't have any differentiation for t-shirts.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I was printing on American Apparels, but you know what no one was doing? They weren't putting fucking gratitude on a t-shirt. And I was grateful every day. Every morning I wake up and I say what I'm grateful for. I was like, yo, I'm gonna put that gratitude on the t-shirt.
Yep.
And that changed the game.
Yeah.
So it's weird how creative works and how one thing connects to another that leads to another. That's the funnest part about it. It's also, it's not an exact science, but I just noticed the more you do it, the more you'll start to see the dots connect and the rhythm of your life connecting and the universe working for you. Not to get too esoteric.
No, but
yeah.
something you said that I think a lot of people are, and I myself, it took me a lot of years to figure this out, but like a lot of people don't listen anymore. Like they're so in their thoughts and they so are like their convictions about what they think and what they, dude, if you just stop and listen, like just listen, like you said, go, if you're working at a restaurant, go walk down and just stand and look at everybody walking in and out of a restaurant, see what you think. Right? Yeah. Listen, what did they say? What were they bitching about? What was good? What was bad? Like just sit there, sit at a bar for a night and don't move. Have a couple cocktails.
That's it.
Listen to what people are saying, right? Like that shit is where you get the best insight into, the market or the ICP, the ideal customer persona. Like, go listen to the customers, dude.
Yeah, dude, 100%, bro. Another thing, I go to dinners quite a bit alone in Mexico City because, friends will come visit till the weekends and, your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And man, but it's everything, man. Like, yeah. And then seeing these new cultures, that's important too.
Very important.
There's young kids. America ain't the end all be all. I love America. But I would say that, when you're in Mexico, you see a lot of, I think, youth doing great things. And that's inspiring too. Like you're part of this contagious thing of guys opening a new restaurant and the new thing. I don't know, man. I mean, love it, bro.
Listen, we get lost. We get lost all the time in what we're doing, right? In America. Like, dude, I went to Costa Rica and I couldn't believe, I spent weeks down there. I couldn't believe like how smart and intelligent and like, and not to say that you expect them to not be smart, but it was like, when I say smart, I mean have triple major, double minor, like, but also works as like a lawyer, like.
Dude, wild, right?
And meanwhile, we got, our education system's beyond screwed up. So like,
oh my God.
Not to get into that, but I'm just saying, it's crazy how culture influences you as an individual,
Yeah, man. Hey, man, I'm going to just keep it on that point. What I love most, people say, oh, well, you're spending all this time in Mexico City. So what I love about it is that culture, right? You talked about that. Mother in the morning walks her child to school. If I'm walking to the gym in the morning, the mother walks her child to school and they're holding hands together.
Yep.
And they're having a conversation together. Now, if I'm in our hood, in Arcadia, and I'm waking up in the morning in my house, maybe a mom's taking a selfie and the kid's on an iPad in the back of the fucking Range Rover. I'm just saying, like, it pays to take the trip if you're a creative, if you're a marketing person, to get a different perspective, to just feel a little different vibes. Because that vibes, those energy, that's why we're the family vibe, man. That energy, those vibes, that matters in your decision making and your processing. Because you don't want to do it just for the money or the work. You want to do it for a few other reasons that mean something to you, because then it makes it all worthwhile.
Absolutely, man. Well,
but
outside of that, I think the only other thing the last question I kind of had was,
I'm down.
What do you have on the horizon? Like, what is next for Family Vibe? Obviously you're like right in the thick of Live Boss Cafe, but what's next? What's on the horizon for you guys?
I got some dope shit coming out. We're doing all our own projects. I got a new project called True Filtered Air I just did, where I'm bringing lifestyle to air filters.
Okay.
It's my own personal company I just launched, TRU Filtered Air. I'm so fucking pumped up about it. We're about to we're going to bring this whole component to, fresh air, fresh water, what that's all about. Basically, you get your air filters delivered to you every 60, 90 days automatically. I got a new concept called Churro Burro we're doing. I'm super pumped up about. One of my favorite things, we're personally involved in it. The guy from Taco Bell is doing a whole new spinoff. So we're going to open a bunch of these churro burros, basically like a crumble, but with churros. Super excited about that. I got to show you the brand, bro. You're going to fucking love it. I
I
can't wait
love
to
me a
share it with
churro.
you.
My family's half Spanish, so I'm in on that,
Hey,
buddy.
dog, you already know. I'll put the churro and the milkshake. Look, let's go. And
Let's
then,
do it.
you know, I have one other project. I think it's going to be the defining project of the company and of my career. I'm going to launch this year, and I'm going to tell
Very
you
good.
about that on person.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, look, thank you so much for coming on. I'm super appreciative of your time, man. I know you're a busy guy. This was awesome. I think it's going to bring a lot of value to everybody watching. So
Oh man,
thank
I
you
hope
again,
so.
brother. I can't wait to see you. When you get
I
back to
can't wait to see you
Scottsdale, let
too.
me know.
Give you a big hug. All right,
Yes,
homie.
sir.
I really appreciate you, Colin.
You got it, buddy.
Much love, bro.